Hey everyone, Pierre Pienaar here. Hope you're all doing well. My new track with Dirkie Coetzee called Lavita is out now on Solarstone's Pure Trance Neon record label. It's available on Beatport and Spotify, so definitely go and check it out on there. I'm just gonna go through some of the main elements, well, basically the main melody of the track, show you how we did the processing, how we did the different layering. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, so we are in the main project now. I've actually got two projects. This is the one where we pretty much create the whole track. And then the second one, I export everything to stems and do the mastering in there. But we're just going to concentrate on this one now. And basically, Dirkie sent me, he did it in Ableton, and he sent me pretty much half of a track done and with whole melody ideas. So what I did was just change some of the chords and some of the sounds and build everything around that. So here's the first one. Here's the notation. You can see in the build-up, it just loops with the G bass chord and the C bass notes. Then this top melody gets introduced. Then the same top melody with a sound that has a bit more body and mid-range. There's a bit more plucky. And when it all kicks in, this layer gets added as well, which is a higher end sound that just pierces through everything. On top of that, we've got the super saws. See this JP8000 in there. That just makes it sound a lot bigger. And then yeah, when it all drops, the rotation changes as well, as you can see. Yeah, going G, C, E, and C again, just to add more emotion in the breakdown, or like a drop. I hate that word. We used to say it's a chorus, but you know, whatever. Anyway, we're processing on this. There's the Fair Filter Poker Fury. You'll see it just cuts here at around about 140 Hertz. Take out the low end. And then to add some body, I put it through the slate tape, virtual tape machine on 15 IPS. IPS, I don't know how the guys say it. Then it goes into this virtual rack from Slate. I'll just take all of this off now. First it goes through the virtual channel, which in this case it's modeled on the SSLG channel. Just touching there. Make sure you gain stage properly when you use these kind of analog emulations, because if the signal is too hot, it just sounds terrible. So I like to use something like it's a free plugin, the MV meter. You want it around about 0 dB VU, set at -18 reference. That's it's a good standard for all your emulations. Okay. So after I confuse you with all of that, yeah, this is just the SSL emulation of 4K. I increase the higher end or the top end here around about 7K. It just sounds so much nicer with SSL EQ. It's bright, but it doesn't hurt your ears. It just adds a lot more air and openness. Then I did a broad cut, at around about 3K. I don't like that frequency usually, so I just I just take it down a bit because it usually pierces your ears. And then I got a high pass here at 113. It's just an extra high pass on top of that because sometimes these emulations, they do add a bit of bottom end noise. So this is just to clean things up. Then it goes into this 401 compressor, which it's an emulation of different ones that Slay did. With the settings that I do here, it kind of emulates the LA3A. And you'll see it just like 1 dB. Then it goes into LA2A. Also, just very subtle. Just makes everything a lot smoother and nicer. On the second, there's also, I've got this imager, and it just widens everything up a bit from 250 hertz. I disable the bottom end because you don't want that wide, you want that in mono. So yeah, as it goes up in frequency, I just make it a bit more wider, as you can get away with having it wider the higher it goes up. On this one that comes in, the top melody, again, just a high pass and tape. And on the virtual rack, pretty much the same thing. I just increased the high end a lot higher. And I actually added a bit of 3K in this instance. It does sometimes, I mean, you have to, it's a balancing act. And then I also added some high mid-range here around about 1000. That usually adds a bit more body. And then also this, on this compressor, it is a bit more aggressive, like 3 dB. It does bring out the pluckiness of a sound a bit more, that initial hit. There's an LFO on it as well. Very subtle. Just gives it a bit more bounce as well, and obviously clears it all up when the kick drum hits. But for that, I actually have a ducking compressor on the group. So I'll show that later. Then with this high pluck, what I did here on the Pro Q, you've got the dynamic EQ. So there's certain frequencies that sometimes when it's in there, it doesn't sound as nice. So what this does is, if you click on that node, it only ducks when that specific frequency hits. And you control it here. So instead of using the gain, you control it here by dragging it up and down, how much you want that specific frequency to duck. It's just very nice to use that to make things a lot smoother and more professional. Then there was a problem frequency here, about 500, so there's a multi-band compressor. Also ducking that kind of muddy sound. And again, it goes through tape. And here again, a fair bit of high frequency added. Some 3K added. And 1500 to 1000 maybe. And a low shelf and lower cut here. Then I use the 116. It's just, this is actually more to just control the transients, as this has a really nice and fast attack. And then these two just to smooth it out again. And then this main body one. Again, it has these frequencies being dynamically reduced and high cut. Again, the tape. And on this virtual rack, Same thing basically. Like when I do these EQs, I'll usually have them playing together, and then I balance it out that way. Like you'll hear if this one needs a bit more high end, needs to be cut in certain areas, etc. Yeah, and in this case, the compressor is basically just barely smoothing it out. It just doesn't really need it. Since it's not really a high sound, it's more like the mid-range sound. And then on the bus, mix track over. You'll see it goes through mix track again. Not quite what I wanted there. It was just over there. Okay. So this is adding like a high shelf and just EQ to all the plucks together. There you can hear it's just without it and with. You can hear it just opens it up more and makes it brighter. It's all these subtle touches that makes the sound clean and professional at the end. And then it goes into the SSL bus compressor. I put a high pass here on 50 so that it doesn't react to lower energy frequencies. Otherwise, it might be too erratic. The attack is slow so that the pluckiness can come through. Ratio is standard 4. So this is basically just used to glue all the sounds together. So you'll see this is actually a lot higher than I'd usually have it. So it's around about, I think, 2 dB to 3 dB together. I usually, if I'm doing mastering, the needle will barely move. It'll just glue it like when it goes over certain peaks. Then I also have this compressor, just sidechain compressor. When everything hits in, it reacts to the kick and it ducks the whole group to that kick. The reason I'm doing this instead of an LFO or like a Nicky or a quick start is because those you have to use automation to enable or disable when the kick isn't playing. So this only reacts when the kick is playing, so it just makes it easier for me. And personally, I feel I have more control this way. And then there's also sound voice filter, but just filters everything up and down here. There it goes down again to build up. So yeah. Okay, so that's it. I hope that gives you some insight in the way that we think about melodies, how we layer the sounds, how we layer the actual notation to basically combine it and bring it together as one big sound. If there's any other elements of a track that you might want to see how we did it, feel free to ask down in the comments or hit me up on social media. I'm an open book, always happy to answer questions. Maybe I'll do another video. And yeah, the track is available now on Beatport. You can buy it there, or you can stream it on Spotify. Until the next time, take care of each other. Bye.